Hi, welcome to A Math Lab. Today I'm going over the derivatives of inverse trigonometric functions. I know your math book probably has a list of the derivative of the inverse trigonometric function, so I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how they're derived, really. So let's get started. Okay, let's say you have sine inverse u. And this is probably something that you might see in your book. Well, they're saying the derivative, actually, we're going to prove this here. The derivative of sine inverse u is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus u squared. Okay? Now let's take a closer look here at, let's just look at this part of it. Let's say this. Let's say sine inverse u is equal to an angle. Okay? So sine inverse u is equal to an angle. Well, we can also write this as sine of an angle is equal to u. That's the same thing as stating it like this. So if we write it like this, we can just look at a simple 90-degree triangle here. Excuse my mess, I'm not the best artist. Okay, and here's theta. Okay, and what's sine of an angle is equal to u? Well, let's find out. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. This must be 1. Okay, so sine theta is equal to u. Now, if we have this information right here, we can really use the Pythagorean theorem, can't we? So we can say, here's x. Let's call that x there. We have x squared plus u squared is equal to 1 squared. So let's figure out what our missing piece of information is here. Let's see. We're going to solve for x. So x is equal to 1 minus u squared. Excuse me, x squared is equal to 1 squared minus u squared. And x is equal to, since we're talking about a triangle, we're going to leave out the plus or minus. We're going to square root this side. 1 minus u squared. Okay, so that's what this is right here. This side is the square root of 1 minus u squared. Okay, so that's just the inverse of sine, right? This is just the inverse. Now, if we're going to take the derivative, so actually let's find the derivative of the inverse of sine u. Okay, so if we do that, let's take the derivative of, what's the derivative of sine? Well, the derivative of sine is just cosine, right? Cosine, and the derivative with respect of x of theta, theta prime. And I'm sorry, let's do with respect to u, actually. D with the derivative with respect to u is equal to, and then the derivative of u is just 1. Actually, and I don't even have to write this here, so we could just say this is equal to, and I'm going to solve for theta prime. Okay, so theta prime is equal to 1 over cosine theta. Okay, and so, and actually I can even write this like this. This is actually just secant theta, isn't it? So if we look back at this this right hand triangle here, what's cosine theta? Or I'm sorry, what's secant theta? That's what I'm looking at. Well, secant theta is really, well, what's cosine theta? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So secant must be the opposite, right? So hypotenuse over adjacent. So secant theta is actually equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus u squared. Oh, there we go. Notice you can't even see it there. But basically what I've done is I've just kind of proved to you that the derivative of sine inverse u is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus u squared. So, you know, it's a really helpful tool. I've had to use this one. I don't like to memorize things. So, with that said, I try to just figure out how to do it. That way I don't forget it. You know, I learned this a while back, and it's been really helpful for me. So, I hope it's helpful for you as well. Thanks for visiting A Math Lab. I'll see you soon.